Hey, whoa, bet you didn't expect to see me today. That's a jump scare of a surprise. It's me, Noah. I'm back for one night only to do something that I've been meaning to do for a long time. I've had this project cooking for months and I just never had the time, and then I stepped away. But skill put in the work to get me the images I needed for this experiment, and now I have to deliver. And here it is, the 32 team perfect WFA in the mind of Noah Underhill. What are these teams? Bringing back classic teams, keeping current teams, bringing in new teams to create the WFA, the World Football Alliance experience, bringing in teams from other markets that we have not touched yet. This is a project that if we were creating the WFA video game, or we were putting it on a new game, and we wanted 32 teams, this is the 32 teams that I would put in. I also have the starting quarterbacks for each of the 32 teams, and so if we were starting this as a WFA video game, these are the quarterbacks that I would put in, and these are only quarterbacks up through season 9, so there aren't any season 10 quarterbacks, minus one exception that we'll get to. But this is the project that I have been putting off, and you finally get to see. So here we are, without further ado, the 32 team perfect WFA. And we start with what I'm calling the North Division. We of course have classic WFA teams, starting with the Boston Whales and their classic quarterback Mikey Napoli. This is going to be the guy that's leading them into the future, and I think would be the obvious pick for a Boston Whales quarterback. And you can't have the Whales without the Vermont Bull Moose. They're bringing in the quarterback that they've been rocking with for this season, Rudy Rohan, and backing him up is going to be the most Bull Moose quarterback of all time, Scout McTerry. Joining those two is the Montreal Berserkers, led by their quarterback T.D. Hardvigson. No, Colin, you don't get to play for your own team. But Montreal comes back, and they are better than ever. It would be a shame if I tried to have the WFA without the legendary Montreal Berserkers, the dynastic run that this team had, and they fit perfectly into the world market, bringing us into Canada. And rounding out the North Division is the New Haven Lancers with their legendary quarterbacks Christian Polanco and Bo Dacius. These lovable losers are a WFA staple and have been there since day one, so it only makes sense that they make it into the best of the best in the WFA. Moving down the map now, we have the Jamaica Hummingbirds, and their quarterback for this experiment is Harrison Miller, a guy who put up a lot of statistics for this team. And in what we're calling the Island Division, I'm sure your realignment heads can think of a better name for it, but we're gonna stick with the Hummingbirds and their quarterback, Harrison Miller. Moving on to the Miami Nightmares, another classic WFA team, an idea that came from my head, so of course I'm going to keep it, and the quarterback that I most relate to this team, Art Vandelay, the guy who's been a million places, but for me, he is most resembling that Miami Vice jersey, that Miami Nightmares brand, and the great seasons that he had for that team. Moving on to our first expansion team, the San Juan Blue Streaks, expanding the WFA's geographical reach, and they bring in two quarterbacks who were flashes in the pan. See what I did there? We're bringing in Brad Sorensen and Deshaun Harrison, who both had some really, really fantastic seasons, fantastic games, got their teams into good positions to win, and then faded away. But maybe, if they got onto this team, they would be able to compete, work with each other, and create something magical. And rounding out the Island Division with a team that has almost nothing to do with islands is the Myrtle Beach Stingers, a team that has become really close to my heart over the years. They're unfortunately getting two of the quarterbacks that will have to compete for a job here. We got Darnell Fisher, a guy who has been a stopgap quarterback for a couple of different teams, and Bryant Callahan, the quarterback that came in for one game when Hugo Zachary got injured and absolutely lit it up. I'm really disappointed he didn't get more of an opportunity. So he's getting one here for the 32-team version of the Myrtle Beach Stingers. Moving on to our third division, the Midwest Division, and another set of teams that we could not live without. The Charleston Federals, Tyler Roush, of course, their classic quarterback. They're never going to need anybody else. He's their guy. So that's the team here. And following up with the Pottsville Maroons and their classic quarterback, Gary Nicholson. Neither of these teams are a surprise to see here, and their quarterback choices are the ones that they've had for most, if not all, of their WFA runs. Moving on to a team that's getting unretired in this universe, the Indianapolis Cyclones, coming in with their quarterback that they had for their first 3 seasons in the league, Connor Manning. Of course, a classic quarterback who's gotten a little bit of shine here and there as the years have gone on, but he was really a solid, capable quarterback here back in the day, and he would be so with the new, coming from the dead, Indianapolis Cyclones. And then closing it out, we're bringing football back to Memphis with the Tribe. They have the Steelhogs now, but I'll always prefer the original. The Memphis Tribe are back. They're working with Jamie Spencer again, the quarterback they spent so much time into, and they're also getting a little bit of a logo rebrand because I just like making stuff, and I thought that was cool. So there you go. Memphis Tribe are back, and they're better than ever. Moving on to the Rust Belt Division with the WFA team, the Green Bay Wolfpack, led by Nate Peterman Jr. Of course, the ups and downs of NPJ in Green Bay is second to none, and I'm going to be teaming those two up in this universe, and you're just going to have to deal with it. And then moving on to another WFA team that is going to always be in the annals of our history, the Chicago Ghosts, and the man that won them a championship, Julio Reyes. What a team. What a team coming out of the old days. Is this turning into just me talking about the old days? Yes, I don't care. I'm having a good time. I hope you are too. Chicago Ghosts. Another throwback, lovable loser, a team that it feels like we're so far away from, and yet I miss so much. The Flint Firebirds, with Vincent Morris running around like a crazy man with his head cut off because his offensive line is so bad. Do you remember this? I remember this. This is the team that needs to be in the 32-team WFA. And of course, if you have watched the WFA lore video, then you know the history of the Detroit Magpies. And of course, I'm giving them Nick Molyneux as their quarterback because it just seems perfect. There's nothing that could be better than that. Imagine the rivalry games between Molyneux and the Magpies going into Flint to play the Firebirds. Oh, magic. And moving on to what I'm calling the South Division, and we're starting it off with another classic WFA team that it just feels wrong without them, the New Orleans Voodoo, and the man that won them their Gen Bowl championship, Jake Lesnar. The story that I have for this team is wonderful. I miss the Voodoo, and they're back in my world. And then in the Louisiana rivalry, the Louisiana Steamers are back. And once you saw TD was playing in Montreal, you gotta know where Colin Pierce is playing. The Steamers get him once again, and they steal away Colin Pierce, QB1 of the Louisiana Steamers. And what a wonderful time that this team would have in this division. And now with our next expansion team. This is a rebrand from the ASFL, if you can believe it. That's how much of a nostalgia trip this is. I'm bringing in my ASFL team, and we're moving them from New Mexico to San Antonio. The Stampede are back with their quarterback, Rashid Davis. What a classic trip this is, joining this division. And rounding out the South Division, you knew they were going to be in here. It's just a matter of time and when. It's the Jackson Crabs. And our classic quarterback, Travis Matthews. Where the Crabs would be without that man, I do not know. But we're keeping our voodoo rivalry. We're bringing in the Louisiana rivalry, putting up 1,000,000 points. That is what Jackson Crabs football is all about. And we're going to continue that tradition in the 32-team WFA. Moving on to what I'm calling the Great Plains Division. We're starting with the Des Moines Corn Kings, and this quarterback choice may be a bit weird and out of the realms of what you would imagine, but we know that Des Moines goes through quarterbacks like commentary teams go through stripper jokes. So we have Zach Rosen as the quarterback for Des Moines. He only got a couple starts, but this is his opportunity to finally become the man that he was always supposed to be before everybody gave up on him. Zach Rosen, here's your chance to start, my friend. And then moving on to a surprise comeback. The Omaha Marshals are back with a new logo and with their old quarterback. This is Mason Jackson, who has made quite a name for himself over the past couple of years, but he's going back to his roots. The Omaha Marshals, a Season 2 signing, and he was there for a long time. So, bringing them back, classic WFA team, of course they're going to be here. And of course, this wouldn't be a Noah video if I wasn't telling you how great Hugo Zachary was. And of course, he's on the Rapid City Falcons, a team that we haven't seen in a long time, bringing it back to that small town love that Noah has always pined for, giving them the quarterback that had multiple MVPs for this team. It only makes sense in my made-up world that Hugo is back in green and dishing it like he always has for years. And what would the WFA be without its weird little guy who just comes in and out like crazy? It's Jack Pitziarik and the Wyoming Cavalry. Of course, you got to go with the Hall of Famer, Jack P., and his championship team, the team he almost won a ring with. And, you know, like, it's been an up and down career and season, but, like, this is the WFA 32 team. You can't have them without the Cavalry and Jack P. Starting what I would like to call the Desert Division, we are bringing back the Phoenix Fighters, a team I love so much, I nearly brought them back instead of the Jackson Crabs when I returned as an owner. Their quarterback, Daniel Lapuente, no longer Daniel Bryan, the quarterback from Canada, from McGill University, will be returning to Phoenix and hopefully bringing the team to the promised land now that he has his true last name back. Another team that I am bringing back from the grave is the Salt Lake City Vipers, basically for the fact that we would get to use this shield logo again, and the fact that this league is always known for having a snake in there somewhere. They'd be bringing in their quarterback, Leroy Lucas Grant, who spent a couple of seasons with this team, co-piloting until Nate Peterman Jr. got there, thanks to me. What a great team to bring back, a perfect time to do it with the 32-team WFA. The third team in this division that I'm bringing back from the dead is the Colorado Clash. We only got them for one season, but that bowl looks really, really cool, so I'm bringing them back again, finding a reason to bring back another team from Season 5, of course, the best season of WFA. Until maybe this one, I don't know. Harold Mortiz is going to be their quarterback. He was their quarterback back in Season 5, and they did really well with him, so let's try it again. And finally, one of the newer franchises and one of the real big success stories of this season of the WFA is the Santa Fe Prowl. They will get Mick Simpson and Jermaine Andrews as their quarterbacks. Mick Simpson, of course, a classic backup for both Montreal and Santa Fe. Jermaine Andrews, the former savior of the Phoenix Fighters, and he'll find his way into the desert. But the Santa Fe Prowl, what a great branding, first of all, and the perfect addition to the Desert Division. And finally, in a division I'm calling the Pacific Coast Division, we have the Washington Wastelanders. What a unique team. What a unique spot for the WFA in that Pacific Northwest. And it would also allow us to keep the classic WFA quarterback, Malcolm Middlebrooks, back in Washington, and still one of the greatest of all time. This will be the last of our expansion franchises brand new to the WFA, the Alberta Avalanche. Continuing with our Canada expansion, we get this team right here. They'll be led by the guy who knows how to play in the cold with his time with the Fargo Freeze, Terrence Hudnall. What a guy to have as your quarterback. Really, really solid young talent that is only going to get better from here, and he'll do it with this expansion team. And from freezing cold Canadian winters to the sunny and balmy Honolulu, the Wyverns are back, and they're going to be led by their classic quarterback, DeAndre Washington. Could it be anyone else? Let's just bring this team back. I think the Wyverns is a really, really cool design that we should have been able to keep, but you know, things happen, and I'm really happy that I get to bring them back for this 32-team WFA. And finally, back from the grave, we have the San Diego Gulls. Their quarterback, Josh Wagner, had to bring back a team that was only here for so long, but really left an impact with me, giving us a California team, giving us a team in San Diego, and a team in the Gulls, whose team is called the Gulls? Nobody. That's a WFA original, and that's a team that I had to have in my 32-team experiment. And so that is it, the 32-team definitive Noah Underhill version of the WFA. I know that I will never get a chance to truly make this a reality, but maybe someday, when I win the lottery and I have millions of dollars, we will get a WFA video game, and this will be the centerpiece of it. What do you think? What do you think of this trip through history, the collection of all of my favorite things? Are they some of your favorite things? I don't know. I'm just talking out of my butt here. This is the things that I wanted to talk about today, and so I hope that this was at least interesting to watch. If you have an idea for something that you think I would be interested in making a video about, let me know. Holiday breaks coming up. Who knows? I might have time for some WFA action. Shout out to the guys and the Gen Bowl coming up. Great work this season. I'm really proud of you guys. Thank you for continuing the legacy. Good luck to the teams in both the Gen Bowl and the Toilet Bowl. Good luck in the offseason for all you teams if I don't talk to you before that. And so long from me to you. See ya.